The world-renowned popular manga series One Piece, created by Eiichiro Oda, has captured the hearts of millions of fans for over 2 decades. Now, as the story continues to unfold, many enthusiasts are speculating on when the series will reach its epic conclusion. Even Oda has given several estimates over the years, predicting when his series would come to an end. Now, while some fans believe that One Piece has many years left, others argue that the end is closer than we think. This analysis will delve into Oda's statements over the years, looking into his current pacing for the manga and the expected progression of the remaining story arcs in order to estimate the conclusion of our favorite high seas adventure. Will Oda be able to wrap up the manga in a timely manner without sacrificing the quality of his story? Let's find out by analyzing when we can realistically expect One Piece to end. It's no secret to avid One Piece fans that we have now entered the final saga of the manga, which many expect to be as extensive or if not more so than the Yonko saga, which had started in the Punkazad arc. The general consensus amongst fans is that One Piece still has a substantial 250 to 400 chapters remaining, with an estimated 7 to 10 years left in its run. However, it is crucial to consider the various hints and statements that the creator Eiichiro Oda has provided concerning the end of his series. In a 2014 interview with China Times, Oda has expressed that he thinks that he should be able to continue to draw One Piece for another 10 years. Now, this statement would imply that One Piece would end in around 2024. Onishi, a former editor of One Piece, had echoed Oda's statement, estimating that there were 10 years left in the story and that it was approximately 60 to 70% complete at that point. Now, fast forward to 2019, during an interview with Fisher, a Japanese YouTube channel, Oda had made one of his most notorious claims, where he states that he wants to end the series in 5 years. Now, once again, this had pointed towards a 2024 finale. Naito, one of Oda's editors, backed up his statement, asserting that if Oda says that it will be 5 years, then it will surely end in 5 years. In 2020, during an interview with the boy band Arashi, Oda had reiterated that the series had only 4 to 5 years left. Now, these consistent declarations from Oda underscore his intention to conclude the series in around 2024. Now, while the fandom has expressed doubts over this, it appears that there might be less of the story remaining than what we had initially anticipated. To further support this notion, let's examine the percentage estimates that Oda has provided over the years regarding the progression of his series. He had stated that One Piece was 50% complete at the time skip, which is around chapters 597 to 600. He had said that the series was 60% complete at the end of Punkazad, which was in chapter 700, and then it was 70% complete at the start of Whole Cake Island, which is chapter 832, and his last percentage estimate was that it was 80% complete at the beginning of Wano, which is chapter 912. Now, these percentages offer additional insight into Oda's vision for the manga's trajectory, and it demonstrates his desire to wrap up the story in a timely manner. Later on in this video, I'm going to be referring to these estimates in order to make a very accurate estimate as to when we can expect One Piece to end. As of now, Wano stands as the longest arc in One Piece, and it has undoubtedly advanced the story by at least 10%, suggesting that the entire manga is approximately 90% complete at this point. However, estimating the conclusion of One Piece is not as straightforward as it seems. Before 2014, when Oda and his editor had first made the 10-year comment, Oda was publishing on average 43 chapters per year. After that, his pacing did slow down to an average of 39 chapters per year. And since 2019, when he had reinforced his 2024 goal to end the manga, his average has now dropped further down to 33.5 chapters per year. And in a recent Jump Festa announcement, Oda has expressed his disbelief that Wano has not yet concluded, indicating that he might be falling behind somewhat in his schedule. If One Piece was genuinely going to end in 2024, then that would mean at Oda's current pace, the story would conclude around chapter 1136, which is about 54 chapters from now. In contrast, if Oda had maintained his 39 chapters per year pace in 2020 and 2021, then the story would have reached chapter 1162 by the end of 2024. Although we're dealing with averages here, it's worth noting that Oda's change in pace had set him back by approximately 30 chapters, or 1 year from his predicted end goal. Thus, by this estimate, we can predict that One Piece will reach its finale in 2025. With the final saga well underway, it is essential to examine the pacing of the remaining story arcs. In general, the narrative has slowed down since the time skip, with lengthier story arcs becoming more common, and Wano having concluded in chapter 1057, and the final saga having commenced in the subsequent chapter with the Egghead Island arc, which so far has spanned about 24 64 chapters. If we assume that the final saga will feature a war which is roughly twice the length of Marineford, which would be about 62 chapters, and along with this we would have 2 short Zou-length arcs for setup, this would mean that Oda would have fewer than 10 chapters left to spare of his story. This limited space might not be enough to tie up every loose end and to resolve all of the outstanding plot points, as well as bringing together all of the remaining character arcs to a satisfactory conclusion. Now, taking all of these factors into account, it seems reasonable to anticipate that the final saga will span about 150 chapters in length. As we're all eagerly awaiting the end of the story, it's crucial to remember that predicting the end of One Piece is a complex task that requires very careful consideration of Oda's past statements, the current pacing of the manga, as well as all of the intricate details that are developing within the story of One Piece. In this analysis, I've placed significant emphasis on fan expectations, which undoubtedly play a substantial role in the trajectory of the One Piece storyline. It's only natural for dedicated followers of the series to eagerly anticipate the exploration of locations and events that have been teased earlier on in the story, such as Elbaf, Lodesta, God Valley, and Hachinozu. While it is entirely possible that we will witness these settings and events in future chapters, the level of detail and depth to which Oda will explore these areas may not live up to every fan's expectations, especially if Oda is committed to ending the manga in the near future. Should story arcs be developed for Elbaf, Lodesta, and God Valley, then they would have to be relatively brief in order to adhere to Oda's timeline. Alternatively, if these arcs were to be more extensive, then it could result in the story being extended by an additional year, pushing the projected end of One Piece to 2026. Now, this would not only affect the pacing of the series, but also potentially impact Oda's well-being. As many fans are aware, maintaining a weekly serialization schedule is an incredibly demanding and challenging feat. The relentless workload often takes a toll on the health of mangaka, and Oda is no exception. After over 20 years of adhering to such a grueling work regimen, it is only natural for Oda to seek a timely conclusion to his manga in order to prioritize his own health and well-being. In the SBS from volume 97, Oda elaborated on his motivations for declaring that the series would come to an end within 5 years. He said that he had made such a statement so that readers could be mentally prepared in order to understand that even a story as long as this one is properly heading towards the end. He goes on to add that he will be drawing the rest of One Piece with all of his strength. This statement reflects Oda's commitment to delivering a satisfactory conclusion for his fans, and it also highlights the importance of managing expectations and acknowledging the practical limitations of creating such an extensive, long-running story. As the journey of One Piece continues, fans need to grapple with the reality that their favorite manga will eventually come to an end. While it may be difficult to accept that certain locations and storylines may not receive the extensive, in-depth exploration that we have all hoped for, it is crucial to remember that Oda's well-being is more of a significant factor in the progression of the manga. As the series approaches the end, we can trust that Oda will pour his heart and soul into creating an engaging and fulfilling ending which hopefully meets most of our expectations. By closely examining each 10% progression of the story, which corresponds to roughly 100 plus manga chapters, we can make a calculated estimate of the series' remaining length. Also, if we factor in an average pace of 36 chapters per year, we can make the following predictions. Now, if Kubo had said that One Piece was 50% complete at the time skip, then it would mean that One Piece will have 1,194 to 1,200 chapters in total, which would bring its end date to 2026. If Punk Hazard is at the 60% point, then that means One Piece will have 1,166 chapters, meaning that it would end in 2025. If Dressrosa is 70% complete, then One Piece will have 1,188 chapters, meaning that its end date is 2026. If Totoland is 80% complete, then One Piece will have 1,140 chapters, bringing its end date to 2024. And if the end of Wano is One Piece at 90% complete, then it means that One Piece will have 1,170 chapters in total, meaning that it will end in 2025. On average, it appears that One Piece is likely to reach its conclusion in 2025 with approximately 1,170 chapters under its belt. The final part of the story may span around 120 chapters, but although a more plausible estimate is 150 chapters for the final saga, which totals 1,200 chapters. This would divide the series evenly with 60 volumes pre-time skip and 60 volumes post-time skip, and with 600 chapters for each of the pre- and post-time skip sections. As we look forward to the end of One Piece, there are 3 major arcs left to be explored, which are Elbaf, Laugh Tale, and Merry Jo or New Marineford. If the final war is twice as long as Marineford, it could span around 60 chapters. Elbaf may serve as a setup arc similar in length to Zou, taking up roughly 20 chapters, and many fans also hope to see a thrilling Davy back fight between Shanks and Luffy. The first Davy back fight, which occurred in Long Ring Long Land, was only 19 chapters long. This would allow the remaining chapters to be dedicated to the climactic Laugh Tale arc, where Luffy and Blackbeard may finally face off. 40 chapters should be sufficient for this part of the story, considering Marineford was around 30 chapters and it had left 10 chapters for flashbacks, lore, and further setup. As for Lodesta, Hachinozu, God Valley, and Sphinx, these locations couldn't be explored over 3 to 6 chapters each, akin to Reverse Mountain, Logtown, Reverie, and Return to Shibundi. I guess these short story arcs would serve to shed light on minor characters, as well as going over some of the events of the cover stories and providing additional insights and backstory to the manga. As One Piece reaches its end, the story's pace is expected to accelerate, much like the gap between the conclusion of Thriller Bark and the time skip, which covered just over 100 chapters of material. If Oda decides to ramp up the intensity, then the final saga of the series will boast a fast-paced tempo similar to the Summit War Saga. This thrilling conclusion will undoubtedly leave fans on the edge of their seats as they witness the culmination of an epic adventure spanning over 2 decades. Now, in conclusion, based on Oda's statements, the pacing of the series, and the anticipation surrounding the remaining story arcs, it is increasingly likely that One Piece will conclude in 2025 with around 1,170 chapters. Fans are waiting for the thrilling final arcs of Elbaf, Laugh Tale, and Merijo. The story will be brought to its grand climax, resolving various plot points and bringing long-awaited answers to the many mysteries of One Piece. The remaining chapters will be dedicated to tying up loose ends, I assume, while cover stories will provide closure for minor characters and additional insights into the One Piece world, I hope. And again, it's important to remember that while certain locations and storylines may not receive all of the in-depth exploration that we have hoped for, the practical limitations of creating such a long-running manga need to be taken into account. Hopefully Oda can maintain his health and provide us with an ending that he is satisfied with. In the face of all of the challenges that he faces, the One Piece community needs to come together in order to manage our expectations and to appreciate the long journey that Oda has crafted over the last 20 years. We're embarking on the final saga of the grand adventure of One Piece, and I for one am really looking forward to its finale. Let me know all of your thoughts about when you expect One Piece to end in the comments. Do you think that it's going to end in 2024 or 2025? I'll look forward to reading all of your thoughts, and lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next One Piece video.